Amv Rollover and Evacuation. Rollover relevant characters, components, considerations. U.S. Army wheeled vehicles. Consider a variant of Humvees, MRAPs, MTVRs, LVSRs, LAVs, and MATVs. Although Humvees and MRAPs are the most common tactical vehicles that can roll over. Before you travel in a vehicle, you should familiarize yourself with the rollover relevant characteristics, components, considerations of your specific vehicle. This includes the vehicle's maximum side slope operation, restraint systems in vehicle and how they work, location and operation of egress points in the vehicle, and egress considerations given these vehicles' characteristics and components, and the vehicle's orientation after the rollover. Critical rollover angle. Current version of up-armored Humvee is 25 degrees. However, it is less with a higher CG load. The combat patrol loaded M1114 is less than 30 degrees. Rollover relevant characteristics, components, and considerations. Side slope rollover angles. Soldiers should always know the maximum side slope operation of the vehicle they will be traveling in or operating before embarking. Whether they are driving or riding, they need to be able to recognize and alert others to a potential rollover. Side slope decreases as load moves up or shifts from side to side. Specifically, as the load moves up, so too does the center of gravity, and consequently, the maximum side slope operation is reduced. Seatbelts are not a hazard. They will save your life. Soldiers not wearing a seatbelt were found to have a 440% greater chance of hospitalization compared to soldiers wearing a seatbelt. The risk of fatality is 300% greater for soldiers who do not wear a seatbelt during tactical vehicle operations. You have a 94% chance of surviving a Humvee rollover when you wear your seatbelt. Always familiarize yourself with the operation of your restraint system upon entering a vehicle. Restraint systems have quick release mechanisms for rapid egress. All soldiers are required to wear seatbelts when available in personal and U.S. government vehicles on or off DoD installations. There is a variety of exit types, locations, and operational mechanisms within each family of wheeled vehicle. In general, these tactical vehicles can have side doors, roof hatches, gunner's turn openings, window exits, and/or rear doors ramps. Exits may have reflective markings around them to help you locate them in low light conditions. Be sure to become thoroughly familiar with your vehicle's egress points and how they work before each mission and practice immediate action egress drills as a team. Factors. Rollover avoidance. Human factors. Driving speed, maneuvering, driver-crew physical state, training, experience, risk management, and teamwork. Environmental factors. Weather and visibility, terrain obstacles, explosive devices, road, shoulder, and bridge conditions. Vehicle factors. Vehicle condition, center of gravity, and vehicle stability characteristics. Types of rollover. A fall initiated. Soft shoulder or ground surface gives away, unstable bridge, bridges with no side rails. Maneuver initiated. Swerving to avoid an object with improper tire inflation. Taking a corner too fast, given weather conditions. Driving on a slope that is too steep. Impact initiated. Hitting a curb, pothole, or other vehicle, initiating an explosive device. Slow down. Never exceed posted speed limits or unit SOPs. Speed is the overriding cause in most Humvee rollover situations. Avoid sharp curves and steep slopes if possible. Curves and slopes generate centrifugal force that acts sideways on a vehicle, increasing the chance of rollover. As speed increases, the centrifugal force increases and consequently the chances of rollover increase. Slow down and brake or downshift early. Avoid shifting in the curves. Adjust the vehicle speed to allow a speed cushion for maneuvering when approaching a curve. Reduce your speed at least 10 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. Slowly accelerate out of the curve. Faster speeds decrease available driver response time. Ensure convoy speeds are established and enforced. Use caution when cresting hills with changing attitudes. When moving a vehicle changes direction, especially when it's traveling fast, it's on a slope, and or when the slope itself changes, like when a vehicle crests a hill. The chance of the vehicle rolling over increases because CG shifts one direction as the vehicle's wheels try to take the vehicle in a different direction. In situations like this, vehicles can roll over when traveling on an acceptable side slope. Avoid driving on steep slopes terrain greater than 20 degrees up, downslope, and 30 degrees side slope, and plan your route of travel. Avoid sudden maneuvers and overcorrecting. Maintain a space cushion, a distance between your vehicle, the edge of the road, other traffic, and all other objects around your vehicle, so the driver has a safe maneuvering distance to compensate for errors in judgment, weather, road conditions, and poor driving by other motorists. Allow greater distance from the edge of roads while operating, especially those that drop off or near water. If you drive off the edge of the road, gradually reduce speed and ease vehicle back onto the roadway. Do not rely on seat of the pants sense to judge speed and vehicle maneuverability. New suspensions and chassis setups give a false sense of control. Steer into a skid, horizontally as well as downhill. Nearly 75% of all rollovers occur on rural roads. Use extreme caution when driving on single-lane roads, steeply crowned roads, roads with soft or no shoulders, culverts, and especially any road bordering water. Many road shoulders in undeveloped countries are not built to U.S. standards and may collapse under the weight of heavy military vehicles, especially when the road is above grade and can fall to lower ground. The majority of MRAP rollovers have been due to road shoulder bridge approach giving way under the vehicle's weight. Exercise caution around water. Reduce speed and stop vehicle. Inform all that operating near water hazard. Assess risk of terrain and route before proceeding. Unlock combat doors. Ensure all loose gear and cargo is secure. Use ground guides as needed. Maintain secure seating position by wearing seatbelts. Turn on filtered dome lights. No restraint equals 300 times greater risk of fatality during tactical vehicle operations. All soldiers are required to wear their seatbelts when available while riding and driving. Restraints secure occupants, prevent ejection, and reduce potential of blunt force trauma. Seatbelt secures the driver in place and helps the driver control the vehicle. All soldiers should wear their Kevlar helmet and flight jacket while riding or driving in a tactical vehicle. Helmets and body armor protect vital body parts during an accident. Vehicle commander enforces use of seatbelts and other personal protective equipment. Worn or improperly inflated tires increase the risk of rollover. Worn tires may cause the vehicle to slip and or tire failure. Both increase the chance of rollover. Proper tire pressure helps maintain vehicle control and reduces tire wear. Poor condition or failure of the tie rods and suspension can lead to rollover. Proper PMCS and pre-operation checks prior to emission will help ensure these vehicles' issues are identified and resolved before operation. Keep the vehicle CG low. Load heavier items low in the vehicle. Avoid loading one side more than the other. Secure the low to avoid CG shifting. Do not overload the vehicle. Secure gear inside the cab with cargo net, straps, clips, or available approved alternative to avoid creating potentially deadly projectiles in the cab during an accident. Vehicles towing trailers are much more prone to rollover, especially in curves and during sudden steering maneuvers as a result of an exaggerated motion of the trailer. Adjust speed accordingly. Ensure drivers and crews are well trained on their vehicle variants. Rehearse egress drills. Retrain drivers and crews after vehicle modifications, especially changes that impact vehicle control stability, such as add-on armor. Pair experienced drivers with less experienced drivers. Incorporate potential for rollover in the risk assessment. Perform route reconnaissance. Ensure weight, height, and width clearance. Assess bridges, terrain, low-hanging power lines, and trees, and especially roads along water canals during route planning. Use combat engineers as needed. Plan for alternate routes. Make sure NVGs are present and in working order in case you have to operate without drive or blackout headlights. Ensure hazards are briefed prior to mission and brief your options for alternative bypass routes. Assess weather, visibility, road conditions, driver experience, and fatigue before and while operating. Use personal protective equipment and maintain your vehicle. Maintain team member positioning within the vehicle, field's view sectors. Identify terrain or conditions for rollover. Alert driver if too close to the edge of the road, approaching a pothole obstacle. Use the gunner as eyes and ears for the driver. Use ground guides or spotters whenever driver needs additional eyes on the ground, especially near bodies of water or when cresting hills. Use intercom system to pass visual information to driver, but rehearse shouted voice commands and hand signals in case of intercom failure. Steps when rollover anticipated not into water. Driver, release the accelerator. Shouts, roll over, roll over, roll over. Keep hands on the steering wheel with arms extended but not locked. Plants feet firmly on the floor and tucks head into chin and into chest and braces for impact. The vehicle commander shouts, roll over, roll over, roll over. Uses left hand to pull gunner into the vehicle. Uses left hand and arm to hold the gunner in place. Plants feet firmly on the floor while holding onto a stationary object. Tucks head and chin into chest and braces for impact. Gunner shouts, roll over, roll over, roll over. Pushes, pulls self down into vehicle. Holds onto a stationary object. Tucks head and chin into chest and braces for impact. Does not place hands or fingers on turret. Other crew members shout, roll over, roll over, roll over. Assist VC to pull gunner into the vehicle and hold it. Tuck heads and chins into chest and brace for impact. Hold onto a stationary object. After rollover, not in the water, each crew member, whether driver, VC, or rear crew, braces one hand on the ceiling, unbuckles seatbelt with other hand, and immediately puts both hands on ceiling. Slides out of seat and sits up. Disconnects headset, turns off motor, if you're the driver, orients self onto the nearest door, unlocks combat door, locks, opens door. If it does not open, try a different door. Shouts, door to notify other soldiers of open door allowing egress. Exits with weapon, assists remaining crew to exit, establishes security, check for fires, activates fire extinguisher as needed, recovers sensitive item, provides first aid, and assists in vehicle recovery. Gunner, disconnects headset, releases gunner's restraint system, product improved gunner's restraint system, orients self on the nearest door, unlocks combat door locks, opens door. If door does not open, tries a different door. Exits with weapon, assists crew to exit, establishes security, check for fires, activates fire extinguisher as needed, recovers sensitive items, provides first aid, and assists in vehicle recovery. If vehicle rolls over onto one side, lower level soldiers, if able, unbuckle seatbelts, assist upper soldiers to unfasten seatbelts, then carefully lower. Crew, if doors are jammed, exit through hatch or cargo area if possible. Work as a team to open jammed doors. Water entry is imminent, whether or not the potential for a rollover exists. For the VC, when in the vicinity of water and tactical conditions permit, informs the vehicle crew the vehicle is operating around water hazards. Reminds the crew of the risk mitigating measures, unlocks the combat doors, ensures all loose gear and cargo are secured. Driver, releases the accelerator, controls entry by steering into the body of water and yells, water! Keeps hands on the steering wheel with arms extended but not locked. Plants feet firmly on the floor, tucks head and chin into chest and braces for impact. VC shouts, water! Uses left hand to pull gunner into vehicle. Uses left hand and arm to hold the gunner in place. Plants feet firmly on the floor while holding onto a stationary object. Tuck head and chin into chest and braces for an impact. Gunner yells, water! Pushes, pulls self down into vehicle. Slides feet into the direction of the vehicle's movement. Plants feet firmly on the floor while holding onto a stationary object. Tucks head and chin into chest and braces for impact. Does not place hands or fingers on turn. Other crew members, if present, shout, water! Assist VC to pull gunner into the vehicle and hold him. Tuck head and chin into chest and brace for impact. Plant feet firmly on floor while holding onto stationary object. After rollover in water, for all crew members, turn off motor, disconnect headsets, unbuckle seatbelt with hand, and immediately put both hands on ceiling. Unlock combat door locks if not already unlocked. Decide whether or not to remove personal equipment. Exit vehicle. Assist each other to exit and secure weapons. Assess injuries. Get to safest shore. Provide security. Account for other crew members. Provide and seek first aid. Retrieve weapons, ammunition, and sensitive items, and assist in vehicle recovery. VC accounts for weapons, ammunition, and sensitive items, requests medical support if required, and reports accident. Water rescue recovery drill. Rescuers secure the accident scene, stay in contact with the vehicle. Rescuers tie a rope cable to vehicle to aid rescue. Open door and hatches. Turn vehicle if doors and hatches are not acceptable. Seek out the highest point on the vehicle. Ensure all survivors have air. Check for other injuries and apply first aid. Remove personal equipment. Move injured personnel to the highest point of the vehicle. Evacuate to the safest location depending on enemy situation, water level and flow, water temperature, distance to water's edge, and anticipation of rescue. In most cases, your vehicle will be relatively in shallow water, possibly still deep enough to be a completely submerged vehicle, but not so deep as to make eventual egress and surfacing impossible. The most important differences between what you should do if you are involved in a wet, submerged rollover versus a dry rollover include: maintain firm, continuous contact with physical references as you work your way to the exit to avoid floating and becoming disoriented. Exit the vehicle and get out to the surface as soon as possible because time is extremely limited. Do not worry about things like turning off the engine, helping other crew members, exiting with a weapon, etc. Instead, simply get to the surface and survive. If you cannot immediately get out of the vehicle due to water rushing in or being unable to push the door open, do not panic. There will be air pockets in the vehicle and you will be able to breathe in those pockets for a short time. Once the water pressure inside equalizes with the outside, you will have an easier time opening doors and egressing through openings. After reaching the surface, you can then attempt to assist other crew members. Remember, armored Humvee doors can weigh in excess of 200 pounds. Use reference points and get out.